planning.
So Matt, you indicated you got greater control over all media, but you have creative agencies. You now have PR, social, mobile. You have all these different types of agencies as well. I mean, how does search fit into that mix? And how, when you go back to your traditional house or your PR, these guys have been doing things a lot longer than the search industry's even been around. How's the conversation going? We say, look, we have these insights. Let's do something meaningful offline with them. I mean, how do those conversations go?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the first thing we did, I've been with BlackRock now for 3 years, and came from the agency side before that. And when I joined, we did have about 10 different agencies. So the first thing we did is we fired 8 of them. And we now have one media agency, which is GroupM's MEC, and one creative agency, which is McCann. There's certainly pluses and minuses to fractured or single house, but we identified that the passing of information was too slow. But I think when you get down to it, and I think there was a question from the last panel on, like, where's the publisher's responsibility, where's the agency's responsibility? I mean, I'm a client guy, so ultimately it's my responsibility because it's my money, and to some degree, not to inflate an ego, everyone works for my money. And if I'm not in the room telling people they have to integrate, then it's on me. So I force a lot of the conversations, and take a search insight back to our display team at MEC or internally to our PR team saying, this has popped up, are you watching this or are you not? And then ultimately we have to hand it off to those experts. But we're continually raising that conversation, and for us, one agency on the media side and one agency on the creative side really has made the communication sharing a lot easier.
And Jeff, you guys sell, diapers and tissues and tampons, and those aren't, outside of diapers.com, which Amazon just bought for quite a bit of money. I mean, those aren't things you think of as people buying them online, and, who's doing searches for Kotex and brands like that. So was it difficult to get your individual brands to accept how search should fit into the planning process and integrate it into that media buy?
Well, our process, the integrated marketing process, revolves around an idea. So take Connell, and I don't know if anyone here saw a Connell roll poll. There's either a commercial program idea, which is about commercial news, or there's product news. Search is sitting at the table and receiving the same direction with everyone else, all the other teams. The expectation is, and what is occurring is, the display and the search are dialoguing along with the broadcast teams on what the insights of the consumer insights are and what the impact of the channels working together, how we should be wiring them, and then promote, and then go to market. So if you take a look at, even though it's diapers and tissue, if you take a look at the idea and rally around the idea and take more of a creative approach to it, not at all. In fact, we believe that search is an integral part of combining the consumer knowledge with our content and with our idea. It's a channel that does it better than anyone. What I'd like to see is actually, instead of being a channel that connects the consumer to the idea, I'd love to see search become more of channeling consumer knowledge and analytic ability to inform even the campaign idea up front. So where currently you sit is inside of the overall process when everyone's receiving an idea. Well, if we took search knowledge and the brilliance of this room, the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain, and pulled that together, the fellowship of our listening platforms and our MRA individuals, and brought you all the way up when we received the marketing challenge, your insights could then actually help develop the campaign idea. Right? So then it's in the DNA of the idea. That then goes into the actual creative development. Then when we get to the part where we're all sitting down working on developing the plans, your analytical ability, your ability to understand the connections helps us to understand wiring. So you're like the lead electrician of it. If we start thinking that way, that you have this amazing ability of consumer knowledge and analytics, channel that and put different parts of the process, it becomes easier.
It's interesting. I mean, talk to me about assets and content, and whether it's SEO, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook. I mean, brands are really challenged right now by how much they have to provide out and how many new things this kind of consumer feedback is asking them for. I mean, Matt, I'll just start here and we'll go down. I mean, how do you think about two halves of this? How do you think about developing content, and what kind of intelligence loop are you using search and other intent marketing signals for? And then how do you think about distributing? I mean, yesterday we heard about Facebook and likes, and how do you think about those two parts for your business?
Yeah, I think historically we've done an adequate job of creating a lot of really good content for our target audience, which are financial advisors. So we create a lot of great tools and white papers and perspectives, et cetera. What we've done a horrible job of is gating it all. So we just over the last 3 years done iterations of, we used to have a sign-in wall that would drop us 50% of our traffic right away. Wouldn't come in, they'd leave. So we dropped that. So we were slowly getting to where making our really good content easily consumable. And to your point, and yesterday really brought it to light, is we're now finally getting to that. We need this content available wherever the target audience wants to consume it, because they are truly in control. My biggest challenge is internal resources, quite frankly. You're just now getting enough bench strength to develop that content and populate it out. And then my biggest challenge is that I'm highly regulated, and the SEC gets involved and has to look at everything, and our compliance department is acting for our best interest, but we're not the most nimble group just for what we can and can't put out there. But we definitely are slowly but surely making our content SEO friendly, making it on to the platforms like Facebook and Twitter, et cetera. But we're still, to be honest, a fair amount away.
Yeah. And Jeff, we were outside yesterday and we were chatting with the guy from ComScore, and we were talking about moms and how moms want a story, and they want, they don't want just the hard facts. They want to embrace kind of being part of this. I mean, how does Kimberly Clark think about content and distribution and creating these stories? And that's not a inexpensive undertaking as well. So how do you guys know where to go all in, where to take small bets? How do you think through that?
Well, we rallying around an idea, and right now we have something called Huggies Every Little Bottom, and Every Little Bottom is about giving back to the community and helping families who can't afford diapers, right? So buy a special pack pair of diapers, and then we will actually contribute to diaper communities, or you can contribute to a diaper community or a diaper drive in your own market. If you create something meaningful, and then look at all your channels to distribute, you can actually come up with some really creative ways to do things. So say Google site links, right? We can actually have in site links, links direct diaper centers in your own area and find it in your own area, or we can find more information or see video. We could use the Yahoo search to actually do the same. Find a video of people who have done their own diaper drives and promote it. It's just once you start to look at things from an idea or a story, it actually becomes a lot more freeing in how you use your different channels.
How much of the distribution do you have to balance? I mean, yesterday there was an interesting dialogue of paying your way in to gain this viral component. But when you're talking about moms or other consumers, how do you balance the trust of going in as, Huggies versus going in this diaper-centric manner of we're trying to do something good here? I mean, how do you play? I mean, that's a fine line to walk there.
Yeah, it is. But the consumer is in control. And if you try to market to the consumer and push to the consumer, in this new world, it's not going to work unless there's something there that's of value. It's always promoting of something of value to the consumer or something to care about. It is a delicate balance, but what we try to do is, again, try and create an idea, try and create some value to the consumer, and then promote it. And now in a more of a vertical approach, all channels are directed at that one idea, at that one value. That's how we're trying to focus everything.
It's interesting is just as I listen to this, the notion of that singular campaign, that individual focus. I mean, we hear a lot of people kind of throwing stuff at the wall, make this viral, make that viral, but this, it's really compelling to kind of say, look, we want to rally around one thing. We can't be all over the place. I mean, that's an interesting kind of take. And Dan, B2B, very I won't say unsocial, but it's certainly not, it ain't mom groups. So how do you guys think about, what you've done in the past with content and pieces of collateral, and how's that changing, and how do you use digital to distribute that maybe, 10 years ago couldn't?
And that really is the next frontier for us, right? I mean, we've spent the last 3 or 4 years really kind of centralizing a lot of the media buying activity, the search activity, and so we've kind of turned the the aircraft carrier and got everybody going on the right course. And now the next phase is to that is to really align with our content creators, with our offer and asset creators, the guys that are running programs, and make sure that they're developing content that is consumable or compelling for the folks that are out there looking to buy enterprise software, right? Right now we have a ton of white papers, demos, thought leadership papers. There's all kinds of great content out there that we can utilize. But what we don't do, I think, is a good job of trying to find the user at the place where they're looking for it. We've kind of gone with that cast the widest net approach, just to get us on the right course. So, a lot of our traffic comes through branded terms and things like that. But we don't look at the rest of that phrase to really kind of clue in on exactly what it is they may be, where they are in that buying cycle. And so really that's kind of the next step for us, is to create some really dynamic and compelling landing page experiences. On the .com side, we're going through the same thing, where the SAP.com proper site just kind of grew up over the last 10 years without a whole lot of thought and governance and around how things are placed, and so it's really impacted us on the SEO side. And so I think this whole focus on content from an offer perspective and from a site and informational perspective, it kind of is where we want to go also as a search team, and really kind of our next focus in terms of how do we make our paid search and organic search work better together. And until you have a site that you can optimize for SEO, it's going to be paid search kind of makes up for all the shortcomings of our site. So.